my name's Alastair Parvin. I'm the co-founder of WIKI Foundation. What we're doing is really exploring and experimenting new kinds of digital technology around digital fabrication of buildings, but also around design automation and the way that we can use the World Wide Web to change that. I think the big message, I think, or the big arc of what's going on is that if we look over the last decade or two, the World Wide Web has really transformed pretty much every other sector, maybe with the exception of agriculture, right? So, first it changed media, it changed, news, it changed video, music, Wikipedia, etc. Through that, and now of course it's changing services. So we have things like Airbnb and Uber, right? That digital revolution is now arriving at the world of physical things and
Internet of Things.
Right, but not just the Internet of Things. Really, it's about the way that we use the World Wide Web to connect together, connect together knowledge. So I think that's the really interesting thing is the World Wide Web has transformed pretty much the way we do most things, but it hasn't yet transformed the way we build buildings, and it's going to. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today. I mean, what's really interesting, obviously, is that you just have to drive through, through Istanbul, right, to see the scale and the pace of development in Turkey. It's massive, and of course, Turkey's there, at the edge. But of course, that's true across the whole world right now, right? We've got this huge
crossroads.
Right. So there's this huge construction thing going on, and I think it's really, really crucial because it's either going to go the wrong way or the right way. Because in terms of also looking forward to 2050 and the scale of development and urbanization that's needed, you always have to go, right, we have to be building carbon zero cities, we have to be building sustainable, resilient cities, and we're not really doing that at the moment. What we do not want to do is take our 19th, 20th century construction models that we use today and to kind of trash the planet with them. So yeah, obviously it's super interesting for me to just come and have this conversation in Turkey, where the scale of development is clearly visible.
It's enormous, right? Yeah.
I've got no idea yet. I don't know. I'm going to find out as I'm here a bit more this afternoon. I think certainly what seems to be important is that it's a spread, right? Because what you've got here is everything from companies selling tiles through to real estate, right? So you've got the whole stack represented, and that's really, really important. Because when we're talking about innovation, we tend to talk about innovation in one little piece of the stack, whereas actually, of course, it's about the whole thing. So yeah, more than that, I don't know. I'll get back to you. It's interesting for me because you can study your own, and this happens everywhere I go. I kind of go to various countries around the world, and everybody thinks that their particular problems or their particular crises are particular only to them. And of course, every single country is unique, right? The way that they play out is different, but fundamentally there are common problems that sit across all these things. So I think that's it's super interesting to kind of get that international perspective. I'm interested to see. What I'm hoping is that we can kind of, by being able to kind of take a longer view and look not just immediately at this year, but 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years ahead, we can all begin to step back and look at some of the systemic changes that we need to make in terms of really looking at the long now in terms of construction. And I'm hoping whoever it might be will, have some interesting conversations about that. Well, it's huge, for one thing. I think this is almost certainly the biggest such fair that I've ever been to.
Really?
Just in terms of the sheer area of this is mental. I think as I said, I think it's awesome to have all the products represented. But I think what's really, really important, and maybe, we've got one stage here, there's another stage down there, but I think what will be really, really important more and more is to have more of the spaces for discourse. So it's not just a bunch of products listing themselves, it's actually an opportunity to look at and talk about systems. And particularly software, right? And particularly beginning to see how the way that we work is different, right? We're moving from an age that runs pretty much still on paper, effectively on screens, but still basically paper, to a world where digitization and automation are going to be the norm. That's going to change the way that everybody in this room works day to day. So this fair needs to make the space for that conversation.